Okay, so this is going to be a really difficult video to make for a few reasons. Firstly, the subject matter is quite daunting, and it's quite sad, honestly. Like, you never really want to see something like this happen to an NHL team, and the fans it has built up, plus the community outreach that this team has provided in the area. You don't like seeing this happen. It's unfortunate. You have people that are losing out in this situation, and that sucks for everybody that supports the game of hockey. This also is a difficult conversation to have because, second point, there's a lot to uncover here. Like, I wasn't really paying too much attention to the entire Tempe vote and what was going on with the Arizona Coyotes and their arena. Yeah, spoiler alert, we're talking about the Coyotes today. But we had some news yesterday that kind of lit the hockey world on fire because it puts the Arizona Coyotes' future in serious trouble. I did my best to compile a whole bunch of tweets and articles, other things that I thought were interesting and or necessary to go out there and bring into this conversation because, as I said, I kind of just did all my homework the night before. I didn't really know too much about this entire situation until yesterday's vote. But the reason the Arizona Coyotes are in the news is because you had yourselves a vote done by citizens of Tempe, Arizona. And what they were voting on were major development projects that would have included a new hockey arena for the Arizona Coyotes. Now, the Coyotes right now, they're playing in the Arizona State University arena, so they share the entire process and facility with the Sun Devils. So yeah, not really an NHL rink. You're sharing it with an NCAA team, it's small, the capacity is not there, and the camera angles are kind of weird. You can definitely see the difference between an NHL-sized arena versus an NCAA-sized arena when you're watching it on TV. But Tempe, Arizona was the next destination that people were expecting the Coyotes to go to, that sounds a lot better. And the vote was passed over yesterday. We had ourselves the results. It turns out that each of the 3 individual prepositions that Tempe voters had access to vote on were all voted on no. Take a look at this. The results were published online. City of Tempe, Preposition 301. You had yourselves 56% of the 29,000 Tempe citizens voting no. You had 302, which also was 56%, and 303, which was 57%. Included within these prepositions would have been things like this. An arena and entertainment district done by the Arizona Coyotes. This was rejected. The voters said they didn't want this. And in response, you had yourselves the Arizona Coyotes themselves saying, "We are very disappointed that Tempe voters did not approve Prepositions 301, 302, and 303. As Tempe Mayor Corey Wood said, it was the best sports deal in Arizona history. The Coyotes wish to thank everyone who supported our efforts and voted yes." There also is an extended quote on their website over here. "So many community leaders stepped up and became our advocates, and for that we are truly grateful. We also wish to thank the countless voters who worked so hard to try and make the Tempe Entertainment District a reality, and the Tempe City Council for their support as well. While we wanted a different outcome, we remain grateful to all those who volunteered their time and talent. What is next for the franchise will be evaluated by our owners and the NHL over the coming weeks." Now, why is this a big deal? Well, the Arizona Coyotes don't have an arena to play in the next few years. They don't have any plans of building an arena. Then you're kind of crap out of luck there, aren't you? You have articles coming out and people kind of panicking, talking about, wait a minute, this might signal the inevitable end of the Arizona Coyotes and what may be going on with this team now. Here's a statement from the NHL themselves. The NHL is terribly disappointed by the results of the public referenda regarding the Coyotes Arena project in Tempe. We are going to review with the Coyotes what the options might be going forward. And that doesn't signal the security of an Arizona Coyotes team that is going to stay in Arizona, but it opens the door to saying, wait a minute, other options. Does this mean we're finally going to get our team back in Quebec City? Does this mean that Houston is going to get an NHL team? Is the NHL going to force their hand and say, sorry, Arizona, it's just not working out. You guys don't even have an arena. There was this entire proposed Tempe deal that was sort of in place and you were planning to do it, which is why we allowed you to play in the Arizona State University arena after you got kicked out of your old one. But now we got to evaluate. This is an article on dailyfaceoff.com published by Frank Seravalli that I thought was really interesting to go out there and read, and kind of goes out there and highlights a few things. Here's some background on today's events. Frank Seravalli writes in the tweet, Tempe voters decide future on Coyotes franchise in Arizona on Tuesday. Tuesday's vote kind of decided the fate of the franchise because it was a special election on Tuesday that determined whether to keep alive or kill the team's plans for a long-desired new home in Tempe. He also writes out what the plans actually were. Proposition 301 amends the city's general plans for use of the property they wanted to use. It was 46 acres bordering the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport, which is currently hazardous wasteland. Proposition 302 had permission to rezone the property, and Proposition 303 provided the Arizona Coyotes the right to develop their entertainment center and arena. All three of these were pivotal into the Coyotes' plans of building their new home, and as we had just seen, they all were rejected. Now, this article was actually posted before the vote was done, and Thomas Drance went out there and quote-tweeted a paragraph from this article saying it was such a good primer from Seravalli on the Tempe vote, worth reading now that the results are in. This is the key paragraph, though. Reading it today was when the stakes really set in for me. Here's what Frank Seravalli wrote that Thomas Drance thought was super important. NHL sources indicated there has been a significant disparity in spending by the political action committees tied to both sides. The belief here is that the Arizona Coyotes side has spent less than $250,000 to activate the vote, opting for a bootstrap campaign, while the opposition has spent upwards of $2 million backed by higher power labor unions who have not received a guarantee that they will be the ones building the project. And so, when it comes to the spending, the party of people that don't want this new thing to happen, and the Arizona Coyotes, when it comes to how much they have spent in terms of building the political action committees, the Arizona Coyotes have spent like 10% of what the opposition has spent. Now, I don't want to go out there and say that the Arizona Coyotes winning or losing of this Tempe vote was determined by the amount of money they spent on building up political action committees, but it does kind of feel like they cheaped out, especially compared to the opposition here. I mean, Frank Seravalli talks about it in his article that there have been so many things that have gone wrong with the Arizona Coyotes over the past few years. Of course, the prospects, the building fees, all the other crap that happened behind the scenes over the past few years, not their entire history, but just the past few years, things have been getting bad in Arizona. Plus, of course, the arena deal that went on last season. With all this going on in the background, and you see now that in their last-ditch effort, the one last chance they have to really secure their future as a member in the NHL, they go out there and spend 10% of what the opposition wants to spend in activating these votes. I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem like a desperation move done by a team that's in this precarious of a spot. But either way, there are some other things that I think are interesting to note. This is what Mike Gould tweeted out after the vote. One more thought. What I'm worried about if the Coyotes do, in fact, leave Arizona is what it might mean for the Junior Coyotes Youth Development Program, which has grown massively over the years and into a legit powerhouse, and that most notably helped produce Matthews and Nyes. It's not ideal. John Keeber then replies saying this, the Kachina girls program too, huge support from both the NHL and the Coyotes. Arizona had an all-girls team 6 years ago. And this is a really big deal too that nobody's going to really talk about all too much, but it is significant. The community outreach and what it does for growing the game. We had talked about this in a video just a few days ago, but Austin Matthews literally is the product of what Gary Bettman wanted when they put a team in the Arizona desert in the first place. Kids who are from that area, that see hockey, love hockey, and decide to play because they watched a game or two. For Austin Matthews, he became a superstar. And you might have to wonder, what if there was a team in Portland? What if there was a team in North Dakota? What if there was a team in Houston? What if there was a team in Mexico? What if there was a team elsewhere in the world that does not have hockey right now? And what if you have some kids over there that like it enough to get into it? What if you get the next superstar coming out of these places? And that's the entire reason this is important, because you grow the game and you see more people that wouldn't have otherwise gotten involved getting involved. And you have the Arizona Coyotes with a really good youth program for the girls and the boys. So this could be a really big hit if the Arizona Coyotes cease to exist. So that's just my thoughts on everything. It's really unfortunate to see how everything went down, but of course, I mean, it's not in my control. I don't really have the say to go out there and change anything in this situation. I just can go out there and make YouTube videos talking about what it is that I find on social media. But for all intents and purposes, it appears that right now the Arizona Coyotes are kind of screwed. And that sucks. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9, and bye.